Christian business owners and Christian business leaders, are you trusting Jesus with your business and trusting Jesus with your life? Or are you just playing around with that? Because trusting Jesus with your life and trusting Jesus with your business is way more powerful than simply committing to Jesus. And what I want to do is I want to show you the difference between committing and surrendering to Jesus in both your life and your business, and the difference that it's going to make in your life as a Christian who owns a business or a Christian business leader. So let's get going. What is the difference between committing to Jesus and surrendering to Jesus? And I have these two visual aids, and I'm going to hold them up. This is a contract, okay? It's one I used to use for my cleaning company when I had it. And so what happens is I sit down with a potential customer, and we go through this contract, and I make certain promises that I'll do this, this, and this, and they make certain promises that when I do that, they will pay, and what they agree to pay, and what they want me to do, and what I agree to do for what they want me to pay. And after we've hashed all that out, and you can have contracts that are a lot more complicated than this. I kept it simple, one page. After you've hashed out all this stuff between the two parties, then each of you sign down here that you are committing, and this is what I say is making a commitment. You are committing to do what you have agreed to do on this contract once you're comfortable with that. And the other party agrees by signing to do what they've agreed to do on this contract. And so you have a commitment between the two parties to carry out their obligations or what they've committed to do on this contract. This is the way I think most people, and this is the way I did for years, operated my life with Jesus. We were in a commitment. I negotiated with Jesus. I agreed to do certain things. Because of that, Jesus agreed that this was my thinking. I'm not saying this is right. This was my thinking. And because I agreed to do certain things, Jesus was then agreeing to do certain things, and we had a commitment. I had to hold up my end. He had to hold up his end. I had responsibilities to make things happen. He had responsibilities to make things happen. That is commitment. You agree to it, and then you sign it. And Jesus says, well, that's really nice, I guess, for business. Perhaps we need that. But here's the way Jesus says. Jesus says, I want surrender. Now, what does surrender look like? Jesus says, here it is, right here. This is surrender. Jesus says, I give you a blank page. I need you to sign and date at the bottom. And from this date forward, by that signature, you are agreeing to do whatever I fill in on this page that I want you to do. That's surrender. So I think this is a great visual. I did not come up with this on my own. I only created the visuals, but I heard somebody describe it this way, and this really opened my eyes. I said, Brad and Jesus are operating on a commitment level, contract level. Jesus says, I operate on a blank page level. Commitment, surrender. Jesus says, if you don't surrender, if you don't sign the blank page, this is not going to work following me. I don't do contracts with people. I do surrender with people. You sign the blank page. What does this have to do with business? Because Jesus also wants to run your business. And Jesus doesn't say, bring me into your business and we will come up with a contract like this. If I come into your business, you agree to do certain things, and if you do those, then I agree to do certain things. That's not what Jesus says. Jesus says, you want me in your business? This is it, buddy. I own it. You sign the bottom, and you date it, and then you do whatever it is I tell you about your business, regarding your business and all the decisions you make. That's the way it works. So how do the responsibilities with this in your business, how do the responsibilities fall out? Here are the responsibilities. You still have responsibilities, and Jesus has responsibilities. And here's the way I like to explain it, because this has helped me understand how this works. When I sign this, my responsibility, Brad's responsibility, once I sign this page, is to do whatever Jesus fills in on this page for me to do. So whatever Jesus tells me to do with my business, that's what I do. Whatever decisions Jesus tells me to make, That's what I do. Whatever actions Jesus tells me to do, that's what I do. I don't get to argue. I don't get to debate. I don't get to refuse. I just do them. In fact, I do them without regard to the consequences for those actions. What is Jesus' responsibility to this? His responsibility is that when I do what he tells me, he produces the results from my actions. But here's the kicker with the whole results thing. He does not guarantee, he does not promise with this that he will produce the results that Brad wants. What Jesus promises is, Brad, you do what I tell you to do, when I tell you to do it, how I tell you to do it. And Brad, Jesus says, and Brad, I will produce the results that I want. It may not be the results you want, Brad, but it's the results that I want from you doing the actions that I told you to do. And so, on the one hand, operating your business like this with Jesus, where you basically don't have a say-so anymore, your only say-so is to say, yes, sir, I will do what you say. On the one hand, it's scary because you're giving up control. And my guess is, for most Christian business owners and most Christian business leaders, you've been calling the shots for a long time. And you like calling the shots, and you like being in control. And I say that from one who understands that. Because I'm there, I still struggle with that sometimes. And so, on the one hand, this surrendering thing is scary. Surrendering your life, surrendering your business to Jesus, it's scary. But on the other hand, it's extremely, this is what I found that was surprising, and what I want to share with you and hopefully inspire and encourage you with, is I found it extremely freeing. Extremely freeing, that my responsibility is to understand to the best of my ability what Jesus wants me to do day to day in the business, and then to do that. And that's it. And not worry about the long-term or lasting consequences of that. But here's the exciting part. It is freeing because by surrendering blank page, surrendering my business to Jesus, I will make a deeper impact in people's lives for the kingdom of God, and I am making a more long-lasting impact for the kingdom of God in people's lives by doing it that way. And that to me is what was so exciting, and is still exciting. But I will be honest, I still have to battle the Brad rising up and wanting to be in charge. So, how do you get yourself to be able to do this? Here's what worked for me and still works for me, and I have to go back to it, is I have to ask myself, is Jesus the smartest person to have ever lived in any discipline or in any area, including my business and the area in which I operate with my business? Does Jesus know more about how to operate my business for his glory than anybody else? And I have to answer yes. But answering it up here or answering it down here does not always connect the two, so I have to get the two connected. And sometimes that takes some work with me sitting down with Jesus and we're going through this and I'm being honest and open. The other question, it's a series of questions I'll take myself through that I have found helpful. One, is Jesus good? Is Jesus always good? Does Jesus always do good? Is Jesus the most powerful being that exists? Can Jesus do whatever Jesus wants, whenever Jesus wants, however Jesus wants, and get whatever results that Jesus wants every time? Now, I think the answer to all of those questions is easy to say as a Christian. Well, yes. But saying them doesn't mean you live your life around that. And that's where the issue comes in. How do you live your life and operate your business on that? And I think because that's what surrender is right there. You are trusting that Jesus knows what he's talking about, and Jesus can do what he wants to do whenever he wants to do it, however he wants to do it to get the results that he wants. And so it comes down to a trust issue. At least for me, that's what I found. It comes down to my trust in Jesus. How strong is my trust in Jesus? How strong is my faith in Jesus that he will do what he wants to do, when he wants to do it, how he wants to do it, and get the results that he wants? So, 2 videos. One's called The Faith Equation. The other one is called, is Jesus the smartest person? I'm going to include those at the end here real quick. But this is what I want to ask you. A friend raised this at a meeting I was at, and I thought it was a great question, and I mulled this around. I'm just going to read it to you. Are you willing to follow Jesus even if it doesn't meet your expectations? Are you still willing to follow Jesus even if doing so doesn't meet your expectations? And boy, when I heard that question, that kind of took me back. I was like, whoa. I got to think about this, because I go into this with expectations, and Jesus says, you have no expectations except I'm going to start filling this in and you're going to be expected to do it. All right, the 3 action steps. You're going to see a video on each side up here. One of them is the faith equation video. The other one is about is Jesus the smartest person to have ever lived video. I want you to watch both of those videos, and then after you watch both of those videos, within the next 48 hours, I want you to schedule some time for you to be alone with Jesus and just work through this, surrendering your life and surrendering your business, the control of your business, to Jesus. Remember, blank page. Hey, until all here, I want to encourage you continuing to work to surrender every area of your life, including your business, to Jesus for the purpose of making God's name great and his salvation known amongst all groups of people in the world, so that there will be disciples of Jesus made amongst all groups of people in the world.